Hello, my name is Tim Shoebridge and welcome to this video. I'm very pleased to be able to announce a new user oscillator that I've developed for this synth here, the Korg Minilogue XD. There will be a Korg Prologue version coming very, very soon, I promise. Now, the user oscillator is called String. I know it's not the most imaginative name, but it kind of describes what this user oscillator does. So what's coming up next in this video is a short demonstration of how you configure the oscillator, and that'll be followed by a little demo track that I put together using some presets which are also available with the oscillator. So I really do hope you enjoy this video. Thanks very, very much for watching. Right, so as usual, I'm starting off with an initialize patch. So let's turn down the VCO1, let's turn up the multi-engine oscillator, switch it to user and choose my oscillator string. Now, by default, you get nothing. It's not a bug, it's just the way it works with this particular synthesizer. The way I designed the string oscillator was to kind of mimic in some ways the old analog string synthesizers that were quite popular back in the 80s. And quite a lot of those string synthesizers used the sort of the drawbar organ kind of approach to mixing sounds. So you'd have different drawbars at different footages, different octave ranges basically, and you can mix those together to create the sound that you want. And that's the approach that I've taken with the string oscillator. So we need to add some levels and mix some of those values together. And the way we do that is through the program edit menu. You'll see here that the parameters for string oscillator are 16-foot level, 8-foot level, 4-foot level, and 2-foot level. So they're all by default 0 when you initialize a patch, which is a bit unfortunate, which is why you hear nothing. So we're going to have to add some levels. So let's add some 16-foot, 8, 4, So now we've got a bit more of a sort of a traditional string synth sound. So let's add a little bit of release. And a bit of a softer tone. So apart from those levels for 16, 8, 4 and 2 feet, we've got the shape control. Now what I've done with this string oscillator is to actually implement multiple digital oscillators inside it, and I need to do that to give you those 16, 8, 4 and 2 foot footages. But rather than implement just 4 digital oscillators, I've actually implemented 7. There are 2 at the 16-foot range, 2 at 8 feet, 2 at 4 feet, and then 1 at 2 feet. And the reason that I've provided so many oscillators is so that you can detune them, and that's what this shape control will do. So if I hold down a chord and I turn up the shape control, you see that detuning them adds a lot of movement to the sound. Now we're restricted here to being a monophonic sound. The whole sort of oscillator section of the synthesizer is a monophonic signal path. So if we want to create some nice stereo width to the sound and stereo spread, we use the effects for that, and I'll show you that in a second. But while we're on this shape control, you can modulate the shape control using the LFO on the Minilogue XD. We've got shape here, so let's just do that. Switch it to shape. I'll choose triangle wave, normal mode. Let's turn the rate down to being quite slow, and we'll start off at 0, and then let's hear what this sounds like. So now let's add a little bit of reverb and delay and modulation effects. In terms of delay, some of the delays are stereo, so they can add a nice little bit of stereo to the sound. Let's turn it on and choose stereo BPM. Add a little bit of stereo reverb. And modulation, let's go with the ensemble. So one of the sort of design goals of String was a little bit like when I developed Pluck. When I developed Pluck for the Minilogue XD, I was trying to sort of like overcome some of the XD's limitations. It's quite limited when it comes to modulation capabilities, and the Pluck oscillator basically has its own sort of modulation or envelope built into it. Now with String, I'm trying to overcome the fact that there is limited polyphony on the XD. You've only got 4-voice polyphony, but now when you hold down one single note, you're getting 7 detuned oscillators spread across 4 octaves. So you can get some pretty big fat sounds with it now. So you could do something a little bit like this, I guess. Carry on. So obviously so far we've just heard the one single user oscillator with all its digital oscillators behind it. We could mix into it the 2 VCOs here and have an even bigger string sound. So we could do that by choosing sawtooth, pitching it up, and say square wave and pitching it down, and let's just detune them like that, and then mix them in. So you can do some really nice sort of string synth kind of sounds with this oscillator, but it's not the only thing you can do with it. You can obviously sort of like use the filter and use your envelopes and modulation and create some different sounds out of it entirely. So what I'll do now is just go through a few of the presets that I put together as I was sort of developing the oscillator, play you those. Hopefully going through these presets will give you a little bit of an idea about the sort of the sound capabilities of this oscillator.